Recording in progress. Okay, we want this at full. Oh, I'm recording. All right, let's do it. You're listening to Were You Still Talking? Hey, welcome to the podcast. Once again, this is Joel Albrecht, and in the studio I have... Oh, it's just me. Little state of the podcast for you. Let's listen to this cool intro that we never get to hear. Thanks, John. Are you going by John today? Hey, welcome to the show. I just wanted to do a little, holy, it's over 100 episodes. This is episode 101. I have episodes booked for the next 3 weeks, about one a week. No, 5 weeks. What am I saying? About 5 weeks more episodes already booked. I've been using a couple of different booking agencies, so I'm getting a really good response. A lot of incredible guests, and I wanted to thank both the guests and the person who stole my mouse. No, there it is. Both the guests and the listeners. The listeners, people like you. If you're listening, thank you. Thank you very much. If you've listened to more than 2 podcasts, wow. If you've listened to more than 1 podcast, amazing. If you've listened to 100 podcasts, what'd you do that for? They're not in order. You don't need to listen to them all. Anyway, so many incredible guests. Just in the last 10 podcasts or so, 10 or 20 podcasts, I've had the producer, director, writer of incredible documentaries like the Build-A-Bear documentary, the last Blockbuster documentary, Unstuffed to Build-A-Bear Story is what I'm talking about. Taylor Morden also did Getting Lost Doc, which is just amazing. And he had some great insights about how he got a lot of celebrities to be in his documentaries. I need to listen to that if I want to have documentaries. Chris White was incredible, a local guy, in studio podcast. Jon Pabon, inspiring conversation. We talked about saving the earth. I mean, just so many people. James Blame, a local comedian. Miles Spencer, learned a lot about trekking. He trekked 1,100 miles through the Middle East. James Schwartz, what did we talk about there? Marketing, digital AI. I'm just thumbing through my old podcasts and just absolutely amazed with all these different people I have talked to. Peter Moore, what did we talk about there? Working as a columnist and a cartoonist. Alan Katz, who created Tales from the Crypt. And he was not afraid to tell stories. Has some great stories. That's episode 91. Definitely check that out. All these ones. And this is just the last few. As I scroll through my podcast, there are so many that just really blow my mind. There are so many. Tim Thomas doing breathwork in bed. Author Brad Elder, Thrillers, Texas, and Starting Over. And then Chuck McGee came on. Chuck McGee was not from any of these booking podcast agencies I use. He was straight out of what was it? I just contacted him because I see him on Instagram all the time. The Iced Viking Breathworks, incredible, does a lot of different types of breathwork. Boy, I'm going to have to edit this one. And really worth checking out, if not on my podcast, just on his different various things. He does free breath work every Sunday and Monday still. Alan Lazarus, we talked about Next Level University, going to the next level. Mike Schwab, a local producer, actor, does comedy shows, all this stuff. But we also talked a bit about weather because he's also a weather reporter at the airport. It's not a weather observer. He does weather observing for the local airport. I didn't even know this job existed, but we talked about storm chasing. Can you believe it? That was really fun. John Didakis, Once worked with the White House press room. He's now writes novels. He worked for CNN, and he worked for the Situation Room with Walt Blitzer. So we talked a lot about writing and the incredible amount of editing you need to be a writer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My last guest, Bermenti, I'm probably doing that wrong. He does hypnosis. He's also a talent agent, but he uses hypnosis to help people get through roadblocks, basically, to help people get through roadblocks. He has a PhD. So many of these people are a lot smarter than me, which is one of the things I love about the podcast. I just love being able to go on here and sort of, it's always fun to talk to people that's smarter than you, I think, and try and learn something. I obviously haven't learned to slow down because I'm talking a mile a minute, but I'm learning. I hope it gets better as the podcast grows. It's bound to get better. Come along for the ride. Watch more episodes. This is going to be a short one. I just wanted to celebrate that I made it to 101 episodes. Thank the people that have come on. Thank the people that are. I'm now at the point where people are contacting me sort of out of the blue. It took a while. It took about 90 episodes, but people are now sending me emails that cold emails. So I've never heard of them, don't know who they are, most of the time representing someone else. And if you sent me an email and I didn't respond, don't worry about it. It's just because I'm actually getting a lot of interest now. So I'm sure you'd be great on some podcast, or I might still contact you. I just got back in touch with someone who's doing a documentary about helping people with PTSD. We'll see if we get that scheduled. That'll be really nice. And I was looking at the stats, which is something I don't like to do. Like, there's a thing about podcasting. There are kind of three levels that we have. One is, this is something I heard, I don't remember who said this, but level one is you're a bit embarrassed to say how many downloads you have because it's embarrassing. Like, it's not very many. And level two is, well, you're probably going to tell everyone how many downloads you have because it's a fair amount. And level three is you're a little embarrassed to tell people how many downloads you have because it's ridiculous. You're in the top 1% of podcasters. You have a lot. You don't want to be bragging about it. It's like, no, So maybe one day. However, the cool thing is, the really fun thing about podcasts is that, what am I trying to say? How do I phrase this? Oh, let's start with this one. How many listeners do podcasts get on average? This is kind of fun. The top 1% of podcasts get less than 4,615 average. The top 1%. That's a pretty small number because the top 1% of those 1% are in the millions and everyone knows. But most of the podcasts you probably are aware of don't really get as many downloads as you thought. Also, the amount of podcasts is incredible. I'll get to that in a minute. The top 5% of podcasts get 1,106, less than 1,106 listeners per episode, downloads, actually, they usually call them. So anyway, I'm in the top 25% of podcasts, which is kind of cool. I'm no longer in the top 50%. I'm now in the top 25%. Might as well keep going. I do this for entertainment purposes. Basically, there's a certain point I would have to go up a couple of percentages before it became profitable. You got to have a fair amount more downloads, and then I would have to rethink everything. But for now, it's great. So appreciative of the people who listen, the people who come on. Now, the podcast industry's total, here it is. This is an interesting stat. Active podcasts, 382,039. It's down 1.8% from whatever the stat I'm looking at, but it is a little down right now, the number of active podcasts. Total podcasts, 2,850,527. So only 13.4% of total podcasts are active. Now, I'm getting this from a place called Podmatch, which I'm using a lot to get people on the podcast, but these are the stats that they have. I wherever I look, I find different stats, but I'll just use these ones for now. Independent interview-based podcasters total. That's me. Active, 119,665. These are interview-based podcasts. So 1.7% are active. There's a total of 581,000 of these. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's down. Only 20.5% are active. I said that wrong. It's down 1.7% from probably a month ago. So 20% of the total of interview podcasts are active. Now, here's the interesting thing. Chance of success and failure as a podcaster. Episode milestones, 8 episodes. The chance of reaching 8 episodes as a podcaster, 36.46%. So only 36.46% of podcasters, people who start a podcast, make 8 episodes. Now, some people maybe only planned on doing 6 episodes, or so, like it was, it's a certain kind of podcast. I'm just going to do this many. However, that's amazing. 50 episodes, 10.7%, only 10.7% of podcasters make it to episode 50. 100 episodes, that's where we're at. Are you still talking? 5.65%. Less than 6% make it to 100 episodes. Now, if I make it to 200 episodes, and I think I'm going to get there sooner than later, then it's only 3.06%. So basically, only 3% of podcasters make it to 200 episodes. So, of course, the way to help with that is to leave reviews on Apple Podcasts. Click the like button anywhere, like if you're watching on YouTube or something like that. Follow on Facebook. Were You Still Talking is on Facebook. Things like that. Average time before pod fade. Oh, I didn't even get this down. I didn't even read this far down. 42 days, industry standard. 42 days before people start to fade out of their podcast. And what else did I have to talk about? I think that might be about it. As I said, this is going to be a short one. My podcast lasts anywhere from an average, they probably average about an hour and 45 minutes. So I have many of them that are 45 minutes. I have a few that are 3 hours. In studio, it's always easier. Oh, that's the other thing. If you're watching this on YouTube, that is kind of a little idea I always had. I always thought it would be fun to have a studio in my parents' basement. We lived in a nice house when I was younger in Oregon. It had a great big basement. And so I asked the AI, so if you're just listening to this, you could go check out on YouTube this video, episode 101 of Were You Still Talking? And I asked the AI to make a basement studio in like an old Victorian. Our house wasn't a Victorian, but that's what I gave it. And that's pretty cool. I think it came out pretty nice. So AI is getting better. I won't get into the ups and downs of AI. That's for another that would be another podcast with somebody who knows more about AI than I do. So I think that about covers it. You're listening to Were You Still Talking? All right. So thank you so much for listening to episode 101. It's been quite the journey, as I said. It's been really fun. I'm actually in a different room than I normally podcast from. I'm usually in my other room, which I call the studio. I'm now in this room, which I call the office, but it's a blue screen, so no one will know. Hopefully it'll sound good. I'm experimenting with just the EQ that I have on here and the mic that I have, so I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fine. Oh, my music is cutting out a little bit. That's a problem I'm having because I'm on a PC and I usually use a Mac. This PC audio stuff, man, it's bad. So be good to each other and be good to yourself.